Problem 5. Consider the curve with this equation where P and Q are constants. The point 1, 3 lies on the curve. The tangent to the curve at A has a gradient of 8. Find the values of P and Q. All right, we get gradient by doing the first derivative. So I'm going to find the first derivative of this f of x. So my first derivative is going to be equal to 2 times p, it's 2p minus 1 for my exponent, plus times 1 by q, just q. That is my first derivative. This helps me find the gradient of a curve at a point. Well, I know the point, and so I know that x is 1. So I know when I take the gradient function at x equals 1, I can change the x to 1, and I know what that needs to equal. It needs to equal 8. So 8 is equal to 2 times p times 1, so that's just 2p, plus q. Because I know what the gradient is is 8. So 2p plus q must equal 8. Okay, I can't do anything with that because I have 2 unknowns. So that means I must be able to write another equation. So that other equation that I can write is I can use this equation, and I can plug in my x and my y, and I'll have a second equation. So I'm going to use this equation, and I'm going to plug in my x and my y value because they are a point on that curve. So I'm going to put in my, I'm going to not write the f of x again. Instead, that's going to be my y value. So f of x is the same thing as y, so I'm going to put 3, and then my x is 1, and x is 1. Now I can simplify that, and I get 1 squared is 1, 1 times p is p, and 1 times q is q. Now I have a system of equations. And so there's a couple ways I can do this. I can get one of the variables by itself and use substitution, or I could use elimination, whichever you prefer. I kind of like using elimination because they have the p and the q in the same order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply everything here, multiply everything by -1, so that when I stack it underneath this one, I can now add my 2 equations together and the q's will be eliminated. So I'm going to use elimination. Okay, so I'm bringing that over here. So my q's go away. 2p minus p is just p. 8 minus 3 is 5. So I get p is 5, and then I can plug that back into one of my equations. So we can plug it back up in here. So 3 is equal to 5 plus q minus my 5. I get q is equal to -2. So find p and q, I just did. P is 5, q is -2. And that's it.